Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Today, we are going to share some wisdom on Antahkarana. Antah means inner or internal. Karana means instrument. From the language of Sanskrit, the oldest language in the world, from which all the Indian languages, Indo-European languages, many African languages have been emerged. In English, which has so many loan words means the words which have been taken as a loan from different languages. There is only one word which is called as mind. When it comes to ancient Indian spirituality, there is no exact meaning for the word mind here. The different mental faculties of the mind has been taken into serious consideration. There is no singularized word for all these mental faculties. Antahkarana is a combination of four mental faculties, or functions, or dimensions, or categories. The first one, when we say first one, it doesn't mean that it is most important, but chosen to speak as the first one. It is Ahankara. Ahankara means the ego. The consciousness which is identified with the social reality, the consciousness which is identified in terms of definitions and descriptions, like I am Dr. Yugandhar, I am defining my profession, medical profession, I am from India, I am a male, I am of so and so age. There are so many descriptions about oneself. So all these descriptions and definitions with which one is identified with is called as Ahankara. And this Ahankara is a part of divisive consciousness. In fact, all the four faculties of this Antahkarana, when we see it separately, they all represent divisive consciousness. The elders, the wise men of India, told that Antahkarana has to be purified. This purification of Antahkarana is called as Antahkarana Shuddhi. So Ahankara is the identity of one's self in so many forms of self descriptions and self definitions. The Ahankara represents basically the social intelligence of the consciousness, because what is most visible is what one is identified with regarding his status in the society, regarding his position, regarding his age, regarding his country, whatever. The identity reveals everything in the form of Ahankara. So before we actually go into the four dimensions of this Antahkarana, let us begin with the Bahyakarana. Bahyakarana is the outer functions, the outer dimensions. There are 5 Karmendriyas and 5 Jnanendriyas. The 5 Karmendriyas are the external 5 senses, which are called as the Chakshu, eyes, Shrota, the ears, Ghrana, the smell, Jihva, the tongue, Tvak means the skin, Sparsha. These are the 5 Karmendriyas which draw sensory inputs. And the 5 Jnanendriyas are the 5 motor organs. Pada means the feet, Pani means the hands, Payu means the defecation, Upastha means genital activity, Vak means voice. These are the 5 Gyanendriyas. So 5 sense organs, otherwise called as 5 Karmendriyas, 5 motor organs, otherwise called as 5 Gyanendriyas, are the tools we use for getting data from the social reality. Like we are using these tools for getting data from outer reality, the tools which are used for collecting data from inside is called as Antahkarana. And there are 4 tools. Like we have 10 tools to collect data, we have 4 tools inside. These 4 tools are the inner senses. Inside, within one's consciousness, there is no need for vision because the physical eyes are closed. There are no sounds here. The ears are closed. There is no obnoxious smells here. The nasal activity is closed. We are not eating food right now, and there are no mosquitoes, houseflies flying, sitting on your body and disturbing you. There will be no sparsha, no sense organ, no sensory inputs from the skin. Similarly, you are not moving at all. Your hands and feet are locked. Of course, I am talking now, my walk is going on. There is no genital activity or digestive activity, excretory activity. So all the motor organs and sensory organs, when they are locked totally, the inner senses open up. When the Antahkarana parts, the Antahkarana dimension, the 4 Antahkarana dimensions of Ahankara, Manas, Buddhi and Chitta, these 4 dimensions open up and they need to be converged for purification, wholesome or integrated purification, or total purification. So Ahankara designates the social intelligence of one's self. So in the Indian mythology, there was a Indian deity called as Dithi, whose sons Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu represent Ahankara and Mamakara. Mamakara means attachment. Ahankara means ego. So Ahankara, Mamakara, Dahankara, it is said like that. Ahankara means ego, Mamakara means attachment, Dahankara means these need to be burnt. This need to be annihilated. This need to be totally eliminated and removed forever. So the Ahankara, the identity part of oneself, has to be removed so as to become a wholesome being. That is about Ahankara. And this Antahkarana is a pramana, is an example. So we say Antahkarana pramanaha. We say in Abhignana Shakuntala by Kalidas, Sadahi Sandeha Upadesha Vastushuhu Antahkarana Pravruttayaha. That means all the understanding of oneself happens through the 4 inner senses collectively called as Antahkarana. Antahkarana Pramanaha. Antahkarana is the consciousness within or the conscience within, which is in a witnessing mode. Like we keep the battery in a silent mode or business mode, the Antahkarana is the collective inner senses which is kept in witnessing mode of consciousness. It is always a witness. Your conscience is the true witness of all the good things and bad things that you do, all the right things and wrong things that you do. So after Ahankara comes Manas. I am selecting this order particularly with a purpose. Manas means the feeling aspect, the emotional aspect of one's consciousness. We collect so many types of emotions, like Kama means desire, Krodha means anger, and Lobha means misery, Moha means infatuation, Mada means arrogance, Matsarya means jealousy. So Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya means the desire, or ambitious desire, the anger or hatred, the jealousy, the misery, the infatuation, put together is called as Manas. So the word man came from Latin menios, that means that which thinks. The man actually is the emotional body of one's consciousness, the emotional part of one's consciousness. So the mind is described as Sankalpa Vikalpatmaka Mananaha. Sankalpa means the thoughts and its desires. Vikalpatmaka means the wrong side of the desires, wrong side of the thoughts. So Sankalpa, the intention, and Vikalpa, the bad intention, put together is called as Manaha or Manas. So Manas represents the emotional intelligence, like Ahankara represents the social intelligence. Manas represents the emotional intelligence. And the third one is Buddhi. Buddhi means Nishchayatmaka Buddhi, then that which decides. that which takes decision is called as buddhi. The head part of the consciousness, the thought part of consciousness, the intellect part of consciousness is called as buddhi. Like mana is the emotional part of consciousness, or the feeling part of consciousness, or the intuitive part of consciousness. The buddhi is the intellectual part of consciousness. It's cognitive intelligence. So like ahankara represents social intelligence, manas represents emotional intelligence, buddhi represents the cognitive intelligence. So cognitive intelligence is also important, but the integration of all types of intelligences are more important than the separative intelligence. That is what makes the antahkarana as one single unit. The fourth one, but not the least, is chitta. What is chitta? The impressions which are formed by way of forming opinions, by way of making judgments, by way of taking so many types of decisions, so all together form as perceptions, as images, as postulates or concepts. Put together, entire data is turns into something called as chitta. Chitta, the way manas is defined as sankalpatmaka vikalpatmaka manaha. Chitta is defined as samvedanatmaka chittaha. Samvedana means stirring. Samvedana means continuous turbulence of different types of opinions, different types of images. The visual images, the auditory images, and all types of images put together in different layers turns into chitta. It's a memory bank. So all types of this cognitive intelligence, the emotional intelligence of manas, cognitive intelligence of ahankara, buddhi, social intelligence of ahankara, and the experiential intelligence of chitta. So there are four types of intelligence. The ahankara is social intelligence, manas is emotional intelligence, buddhi is the intellectual intelligence or cognitive intelligence, and the chitta is the experiential intelligence. It is complete data bank of all the present life and past lives as well. So prakrita karma and prarabdha karma, the present life and previous lives put together turns into the memory bank of chitta. And for all these four types of internal senses or internal tools, we have different permutations and combinations based upon the type of issues that a person is encountering. For example, these issues or turbulences or problems that are encountered by an individual are called as kleshas. Kleshas are of five types: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. So let us try to understand what these kleshas are. So first thing is avidya, that means ignorance. The person who is ignorant of so many things, the very ignorance in the form of chitta doesn't allow the inner senses to be more activated. Similarly, asmita means because the person is already in the opinionated type of mind, judgment type of mind, the other dimensions cannot enter just because of the strong layer of opinions and judgment. That is called as asmita. The very perceptions act like a wheel, act like a curtain, iron curtain, so that the other sensory inputs from within doesn't become more illuminated. Raga means attachment. Just because you are very much inclined, your mental propensity is inclined more in terms of likes and dislikes, what you like alone comes in, what you dislike doesn't come in. So you are again creating a curtain so that only selective choices of inner data will be more emerging, not the unselected data. So raga makes another part of the curtain which doesn't allow different types of information to enter within you. Dvesha means hatred. When you are in terms of love and hatred complex, what you love alone enter into you, but what you hate doesn't enter into you. Similarly, abhinivesha means the fear of death, clinging to life. When you are more attached to clinging of life, you want to live for 200 years or 1000 years, just like that, with the fear of death. Just because of this very fear, so many types of information doesn't open up within. So these five kleshas, the avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha and abhinivesha put together work upon each and every type of antahkarana. So Avidya works on Ahankara, Manas, Buddhi, Chitta. Similarly, Asmita works on Ahankara, Buddhi, Manas, Chitta. Raga, Dvesha and Abhinivesha also works on Ahankara, Manas, Buddhi, Chitta. So each part of this Antahkarana is affected in 5 layers. That means 4 into 5, 20 types of permutations and combinations available. Again, within these 20 combinations, there are 3 more levels depending upon the evolution of one's consciousness. Depending upon the evolution of one's consciousness, again there are 3 levels. That is Tamas, Rajas and Sattvic. Tamas are the people who are more lazy, living in the world of inertia, not interested, not enthusiastic to learn anything. They are just slow, sluggish, slumber, unwilling to learn. They keep on sleeping. Their consciousness is totally sleeping. And you don't have to give examples for tamasic people. There are so many in the world. There are rajasic people, people who are very ambitious, very active, very vibrant, very dynamic, but still the ahankara, the buddhi, the chitta or manas will affect them in different ways. For example, we know 3 kings who are called as great. One is Alexander, the second is Akbar, third is Ashoka. 3 great kings who ruled majority of the landmass of the world died with tremendous level of spiritual transformation. For example, Ashoka the Great, who was the 3rd important king of the Maurya dynasty of India, after killing thousands of people in Kalinga war, in the present state of Orissa in India, got transformed and entered the path of Buddhism. He became a changed person. He planted trees. He sent emissaries across the world, taking the teachings of Buddha to nooks and corners of the world. Tremendous transformation happened just because he left his Rajasic sense of evolution. Rajasic means controlling, power-mongering type of consciousness is called as Rajasic consciousness. Just like inertia or lazy type of consciousness is called Tamas consciousness, ambitious and power-mongering type of consciousness is called as Rajasic consciousness. Same the case of Akbar the Great, the Mughal emperor, who at the age of 42 underwent tremendous transformation and for the first time invited other religious paths like Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism into his darbar for the first time in the history of Mughals in India. So at the age of 42 he stopped on many days the selling of meat in the capital city of Delhi, and he created a new path of spirituality called as Din-e-Ilahi. It is not a religion of Islam, but a separate spiritual sect called as Din-e-Ilahi, which is all-inclusive parts of spiritual wisdom. Similarly, Alexander, who was a greatest power-monger, greatest conqueror, a crusader, an invader, traveled from Macedonia via Persia, via Egypt to India, and died. Before dying, he told his commanders, the Ptolemy, Antigonus, and Seleucus, that when I die, keep my hands by way of creating 2 holes in the coffin, with my hands passing through these holes. These empty hands denotes that I am going to other side of the world with empty hands, despite being emperor here. So that was the strongest message Alexander gave to the world. So howsoever rich you are, you have to abandon this world with empty hands, whomsoever it may be. When it happens in the case of Alexander the Great, it happens to anyone. So instead of spending too much of time for wealth, one should spend time for inner wealth, that is spiritual wisdom. So this type of people, Alexander or Akbar or Ashoka the Great, they were representing the Rajasic type of consciousness, and this Rajasic type of consciousness doesn't allow the integration of the 4 tools of Antahkarana. Then comes to Sattvic consciousness. Sattvic consciousness means the ego of the enlightened ones, the problems of enlightened ones, the barriers of enlightened ones. The very Sattvic people think that just I am spiritual, that's why I am good, I am wise, I am superior. So spiritual wisdom is also a form of self-identification, and it makes one a fool, unable to understand higher things. So enlightened ego is also a barrier. Even if you are enlightened, the shadow of ahankara, the shadow of chitta, manasa and buddhi will follow you and can make you dark and dull. So for all these 4 elements, ahankara, manas, buddhi, Chitta, there are 5 kleshas: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, and 3 degrees of evolution of consciousness: tamas, rajas, and sattvic. So put together, you can see 20 into 360 levels of antahkarana consciousness in different permutations and combinations. So ahankara in terms of avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, and each raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, avidya, asmita in terms of tamas, rajas, and sattvic. Similarly, chitta, manas, and buddhi also passing through these pancha kleshas or 5 kleshas in 3 degrees of evolution. So put together, it is called as mind. One singular word called as mind in English. But when it comes to ancient Indian spirituality, there is so many things to be understood. So put together, this antahkarana consciousness has to be integrated. Like there is a cog wheel with a central hub and 4 quarters of the wheel, each representing one dimension of consciousness: ahankara, manas, buddhi, chitta. This cog wheel doesn't move at all; it is center. So all the 4 senses need to be converged. All the 4 senses need to be centripetalized. All these 4 senses need to be internalized viscerally and turn into the center of one's being, otherwise called as Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means the golden womb, which is the greatest teacher of any person who is on the path of spiritual wisdom. That is called Hiranyagarbha. That is golden womb. Hiranya means gold. Garbha means womb. So in the golden womb lies the convergence of these 4 dimensions of antahkarana, and the purification of this antahkarana happens in this Hiranyagarbha. That we have to understand. And apart from this antahkarana, 4 dimensions, pancha kleshas, and 3 degrees evolution, we have another 4 adding to this permutations and combinations. These 4 are prashupta, tanu, vichinna, udaranam. Prashupta means dormant. So antahkarana consciousness can be dormant, that means sleeping inside. Tanu means weak. The antahkarana consciousness is present, conscious, but it is weak in nature. The antahkarana consciousness can be vichinna, that means it is understood in a different way than normal or usual way. In a different way. And being understood as a different way is called as vichinna. Udaranam means fully active antahkarana consciousness. So within the combinations of these 60 models, there are another 4. 60 into 4, 240 permutations, combinations. So prashupta, the sleeping, dormant; tanu, feeble; vichinna, different or disseminated; and udaranam, fully active antahkarana consciousness. These 4 levels of antahkarana, depending upon the level of activity, makes these permutations and combinations even more larger. So just for descriptive sake, I am telling all these things, but finally the parishuddhi, that is very important. The purification process of all these things are very important. The purification makes the convergence of these 4 quarters into one. That makes you enter the center of being, otherwise called as Bindu Chaitanya, or that consciousness of a dot, consciousness of the seed consciousness. So in ancient Indian spirituality, it is called as Bijavadana. Bijavadana means contemplation of the seed consciousness. When you contemplate on the seed consciousness, you will become an integrated or wholesome being. You will become a universal being. So these different types of dimensions need to be understood thoroughly. And one more important thing is, we call Sankhya Yoga in India. Sankhya Yoga means the yoga of mathematics. This buddhi and chitta is called as prakriti. The ahankara and chitta is called as purusha. Prakriti is a feminine consciousness and purusha is the masculine consciousness, like yin and yang, the opposites. So Shiva, if you see the symbol of Shiva Linga, the upper part is the masculine entity and the lower part is the feminine entity, like yin and yang. So yin and yang need to be interrelated, interpenetrable, inseparable, indivisible to make itself as a wholesome consciousness. So the Sankhya Yoga says that Buddhi and Manas turns into Prakriti, and Ahankara and Chitta turns into Purusha, and Prakriti and Purusha makes it totally wholesome being. So this much I would like to say about Antahkarana consciousness. And finally, what I would like to say as the final statement is the 4 dimensions of Antahkarana consciousness in all its subtle forms or formats need to be converged and turns and makes one enter the center of one's being, center of one's consciousness, to make oneself understand the real meaning and insights behind this Antahkarana. Thank you very much.